So I just want to say a few words about dyslexia, and then I will introduce Carrie and let her take it from there. So what is dyslexia? 1 in 5 students. Generally, 1 in 5 students has dyslexia. It's a neurological condition. It's a different wiring of the brain. So it's not, some people, you're all sitting in this room, you're probably more familiar or have firsthand experience. So it's not about being lazy or not wanting to do the work. It's the brain is wired differently. They learn differently because of that. So research indicates there's no relationship to intelligence. Most kids, most people with dyslexia have average to above average intelligence. And we actually believe that the way people with dyslexia think is an advantage. And it's part of their success. So, and people with dyslexia are probably always going to be challenged with reading, so it is important to think about strategies and tools, which is what we'll be focusing on tonight. While dyslexia can make reading more difficult, like I said, the brain's wired differently, so with the right instruction, and there's a whole bunch of material and online resources around that. If you have questions about what the right instruction looks like, I'm happy to talk with you about that afterwards. But everyone can learn to read. It's just that they need to learn in a different way. And you probably all know this. You could probably add more to this list of people who are very successful and have dyslexia. So, and as a matter of fact, Dean Bragonier, who is the founder of this noticeability.com, has dyslexia himself. And he talks about this idea of locked potential and unlocked potential. So this data we know exists, right? It's kind of depressing. 32% of students with dyslexia or LD drop out of high school. 50%, half of the youth in juvenile justice systems have dyslexia or LD. And 60% of adolescents in drug and alcohol rehabilitation also deal with LD. So LD, learning differences, learning disabilities, however you say it. But generally, dyslexia is in that category. The good news is the unlocked potential, as he talks about it. So actually 35% of entrepreneurs have dyslexia. So there's something going on in that different brain wiring that makes it possible for them to kind of see things in a different way, have a different drive. Also known as the MIT disease. So, the nation's top engineering school, there's a high proportion of students there with dyslexia. And then 40% of self-made millionaires also have dyslexia. So there's a lot of good things about it. And so at CHC, we want to also talk about it from a strengths-based perspective. So we know that our students need a different kind of instruction, and that's how they're going to learn, but we also want to really help them identify and leverage the strengths that they have as well. So a little commercial here is Sandhill School. So we have Sandhill School here at CHC, which is a school, a private school for kids with dyslexia and ADHD, learning and attention issues. And that information, you can find all kinds of information about Sandhill online. We can also, I think we have flyers back there. If not, I'll add some. So, with that said, I'm just going to say 2 more things. On your chair, this is our community education brochure. Have you gotten this in the mail? No? Have you seen it in an email? Some? Okay. So feel free to take a copy, to take a few extra copies if you want to share it with people. But this is our entire community education lineup this year, September to June, end of May. And we also have sessions this year in the South Bay. So we have a location in the South Bay. Is anybody South Bay people here? Okay, so there is a card in the back. I can give you a separate card that shows the sessions in the South Bay. They're also listed in the Bay. Where is the South Bay location is kind of near Valley Fair. It's on Kenwood. It's the it was the Benjamin Corey School, if you're familiar with Benjamin Corey, which is part of the Santa Clara Unified. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to, I should probably say a few words about this. So strategies and tools for technology is an important strategy, as an important tool for people with dyslexia. It opens doors and allows students to really demonstrate their knowledge in different ways that they may not be able to in kind of more conventional ways. And it helps them obviously save time and overcome their challenges. Like lots of kids have issues with handwriting and it's hard taking notes. So there's all kinds of tools for doing that. And what Carrie's going to talk about tonight is some of the accessibility tools that are in the software that she's highlighting. This is just a list of resources where you can find other information about technology and dyslexia. So with that, Carrie Chismar is here from Microsoft, and as kind of a launch, since October is Dyslexia Awareness Month. We wanted to launch it this way, and actually Microsoft is also doing sessions at their store at the campus, at their store at Stanford Shopping Center. So.
Well, thank you, Cindy. We appreciate you coming to CHC here today. So just kind of a little bit about me and what I do at the Microsoft store. As Cindy mentioned, we are located at the Stanford Shopping Center, so just a hop, skip, and a jump away. My name is Carrie Chismar. I am the Community Development Specialist. So my favorite part of my job is that I get to offer workshops and trainings for free. So don't worry, as coming from Microsoft, I will not try to sell you a single thing tonight, but instead just give you a bunch of free resources that we have available online, in our store, at your house or school. All those different sorts of things. So it's really exciting what we get to do with empowering students with dyslexia this month, and we get to highlight it throughout the month of October. And we are having the same workshop a little bit longer. We have a full 2-hour workshop in our store every Wednesday from 6 to 8, as well as other ones that you can find on our website. It's just Microsoft.com/Palo Alto, and has a list of every kind of workshop and workshop and training that we have available there. So we're just going to jump right in. I know Cindy had asked a few questions, but we had a few more people. But how many of you guys have been to our store before, just in the shopping center, or the Valley Fair store? There's one up in San Francisco as well, or the 3 in the Bay Area. A couple people, awesome. And then educators, raise your hands. Awesome, and I have so many more tools for you, so if you guys want to stay after and talk to me, I have some wonderful things that I can let you guys know about. Parents of children with dyslexia, and then student advocates. If you consider yourselves. All parents, right, exactly. And then the last one is, how many of you are familiar with Onenote? Kind of, sort of. Yeah, so Onenote is a great tool that we have kind of built into our Office package. Do you guys use Office at all? Word, PowerPoint, those sorts of things? Awesome. So if you have that, then you definitely have Onenote as well installed onto your computer. And most of what we're going to be doing today is kind of through Onenote, but it's also through Word. And then Microsoft Edge. Do you guys use Edge? Do you know what Edge is? No, okay, so Edge is the Internet Explorer / Google Chrome / our Firefox. It's our version of Internet that we have that is pre-installed on all of our Windows devices as well. So we'll be doing a few things through that. So all of these tools, as I said, are going to be just kind of free for you guys to use if you have these products. And then if you want to go ahead as well to the back of your book, or back of your little booklet here, there looks like a periodic table. This is what we're going to go through, and then kind of what all of their there are applicable on. So we have some that are available if you have OneNote on an iPad, like it's available on that. If you use Outlook as your mail source, it's available on that. Come on in. How are you doing today? Hi, ladies. So if you guys are looking through this and you're like, I don't know if I can use this on my Chromebook, this will be able to tell you if it's available on that, Apple products, or any other products that you use available. So that's kind of the last page of this little booklet. But yeah, we're going to be going through this. I'm going to kind of be up and down because there's going to be a few things I'm going to show you hands-on. And then at the end, if any of you guys brought your devices, did anybody bring computers with you? Yes, a few of you. Okay, then we can have like a more hands-on. So if you want me to show you individually, if you want to stay a little longer, and I can just kind of go through it step by step of what happens. Also today, if you guys need me to slow down at all, if I'm not talking too fast, but if I'm going through the material too fast, and you want me to kind of slow down, I kind of get ahead of myself with technology in general. Working at Microsoft, we talk about it a lot. And I am very aware that a lot of people aren't as up to speed, so just let me know if you need me to slow down and go through things a little more in detail. So the plan for today, this is just kind of what we're going to go over, just empowering different learning styles. Microsoft's mission in general is to empower every student to achieve more, every person to achieve more, every business to achieve more. That's something that we really pride ourselves on, is just being able to get out into the community to make these partnerships and to help everybody, you know, kind of achieve their goals. So we're going to go through the empowering students to do their best work, enabling teachers to engage every student and every learner, helping parents and caregivers support at home, and then just promote equity and inclusion into schools. Well, it's available on all windows if you have up to 20.
Like up to PC, I guess, is it PC?
PC, yeah. So it is available on all PCs if you have the Office products, which every PC does. And then as far as Macs or iPads, it's available here of what you see it. So you can download like free versions of Onenote onto a Mac computer. Just the online version. So there's like a desktop version and an online version. So you can get the free online version, and it still has all of these available.
So even if you already have Word, PowerPoint, and Excel
On your,
on the Apple products?
it should be involved in there, yep.
As long as it's a 365 or
If you're up to 2016, yeah. And
Okay.
yeah, so if you have through 2016 of any of these products, it'll be available. Yeah, on any platform.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we love about all of this. We've tried to make it, I know a few years back, it was kind of like you either had one or the other, but now we try to make it inclusive for no matter what hardware you have, the software is going to work. And it's up to 2016 version. So now, actually just yesterday, we released 2019. So as long as you have up to 2016, though, all of these Immersive Reader products are going to be available on there. So just a little bit about the apps and tools. Their free accessibility tools are built into all of our Office products / Office or Microsoft Edge. They really just are proven to implement and helps children succeed. I'm not even children, to help anybody succeed. If you need help with reading, writing, that sort of thing. So we're going to be going through the inclusive features, the accessibility features of all of these different products. And I know kind of Cindy said a little bit about this, but just the importance of it. We had surveyed, well not we, corporate had surveyed 14,000 different students and noticed that 3 out of the 4 classrooms have students with reading levels that they span up to 4 or more grade levels. Half of the classroom have English language learners and need to slow down when they're reading or writing for that purpose, just because English is not their first language. And then 1 in 5 students have dyslexia and are impacted by that daily. So overall, there's a very diverse set of needs for the classroom. And the demands on teachers and parents are higher with that, just because you have to pay a little more attention, be a little more hands-on, and maybe take things a little slower and take a little more time. So we're going to start with the reading effectively with learning tools. Students say that these learning tools have helped them immensely when it comes to kind of delving into the Immersive Reader program, which I'll show for you guys in a little bit. But in the meantime, here's a little video.
The true purpose of education is to create possibility.
It was a little hard for me. People laugh whenever I read sometimes.
Well, they knew how to read, and I didn't.
I will never be good at reading. I will probably be held back again.
It highlights the words to know where I am.
When it's reading, I see spaces between the words, and it's easy to focus on.
The first time I actually could read that book, I was proud of myself.
I was very proud of myself. Good job, Joey.
When technology and education come together, possibility becomes reality.
I want to read every book in here.
We love our feel-good short videos. So yeah, back to that last slide. Just with the kids, it really helps build confidence in their reading skills. And I'll show cases for you in just a few minutes. But they are with the immersive reading tools in Word, OneNote, Microsoft Edge, and then there's a really cool app called Office Lens. Does anybody know about Office Lens? Okay, cool. We'll go over that in a minute too. But it just helps kids build their confidence and feel a little better about themselves when they're reading out loud, either whether it's to their parents or just to their teachers, or if it's in a classroom. And that's just super important when it comes to just feeling comfortable. So this is just a study that we had found. It was across 4th graders, 6th to 8th graders, and then 10th to 12th graders. That shows when they use these immersive reading tools, how their reading level increases. So the orange line is the not using these tools. The blue line is using them, so it increases. I mean, it may not be quite to the same level just yet, but over time it increases a lot faster when they can use these tools available. And then teachers have found that the tools help in their skill level as well in the classroom, feel more comfortable around fellow students, and can eventually get up to the same reading level as their fellow students as well.
You said Office Lens and what?
I'll go over it all, but it's Immersive Reader, and it's going to be available in Microsoft Edge, which is our internet browser, and that's available on all devices as well. Onenote 2016, Word 2016. And then in PowerPoint as well. This doesn't go into PowerPoint, but it is available in PowerPoint. So I'll do a short demonstration right now, kind of about the OneNote and all that it can offer. So I had went ahead and copied. Okay. So this is OneNote. For those of you guys who don't know what OneNote is or haven't used it before, it's really just a virtual notebook. So off to the side, you can see here, there's kind of different tabs, and you can go into the tabs and then create more things within it. So it's like a virtual binder is basically what it is, and you can have different subjects. Teachers use this in the classroom all the time, and it's very useful. You can collaborate together as well, but that's a whole other rant for another day. So I went ahead and copied just The Raven from Edgar Allan Poe, just from online, a short, well, half of it, not the whole thing, because it's longer than I remembered. But just to show you guys a little bit about this immersive reader and what it can do, hands-on, and then if you wanted to try it out later at the end, there will be some time for that as well that I can help you a little more hands-on. So if you go up to the top here under View, there's going to be Immersive Reader, about the third one over. So once you click that, and it is online, so you must be connected to some sort of internet, but this is what it takes you to. So just a couple things, and I'll go through it a little slowly, step by step. But automatically it makes the words a little bigger so that you can see them clear, and it takes away the distractions on the side.
I was just wondering if you guys have that dyslexia font.
Oh,
Specific font, dyslexia.
I'm not sure, but I can figure that out and let you know. Actually, let me write that down.
This font can be difficult.
Yes, okay, and that is one thing over here. We do have a couple different ones. There's not many right now, but there are font differences.
So the A, the A that goes like that, that's
Okay.
not, that's not how they do it in school.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
this
dyslexia
one works.
friendly.
Which
Because
is
it
a
kind
comic
of,
sound.
the A that goes like that and not the A with the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that A is like.
the rounded one.
The lowercase.
Oh, okay.
This is how they write it. The
Yeah,
other one is
this
the
is the A,
book
this
shows
one's
it.
Time.
Okay. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So as of right now, these are the font options that are given, so there's only these three. But this one is probably more close with the lowercase a being a little more friendly to them. But yeah, so that font is an option there. The best thing about this is that it can all be customized. So whether if you want a different theme, that's another option if they may like a different color. And there's plenty of options for themes as well. So for our purposes, we'll pick a lovely lavender to go through it. So that's something that if they choose to, colors sometimes just make kids happy, and that's whether the children have learning disabilities or not. That's the great thing about this is it can be used for all children. So themes, fonts, and then spacing is something that can be increased or decreased on this section, as well as text size. So you can go little, and then as well up to about 2 words per line is the largest that this one goes. So it goes through there. I'm going to make it a little smaller just for us today, as well as, okay. The next thing is the syllables. So you can turn syllables on as well. So it spaces every little syllable so that children can read a little more clearly when it comes to that spacing of and how to pronounce. Down here is the parts of speech. So you can turn on what a noun is, verb, adjective, adverb, and then change the colors for that as well. So again, customizable to their needs. So if you want to turn nouns on, every noun is then going to be orange. And then if you want to turn adjectives on as well, and then you say, hey, I don't know which one's which, you can show the labels on that. So then as you read, and you can kind of customize the colors and then whether you want to show the labels or not on here. And then down here is the line focus. So this was taken from kind of the old school ruler approach where you would put a ruler under a line so you could read it straight across. but it goes like this. So as you're reading, you can scroll down, word line by line, or up to 3 if you'd rather that, to read a little section. And then there's also up to 5. So if you want to read a small paragraph at a time.
Can I ask just about the text? How do you get the things that the kids are reading on there? Like from their class books or?
That is what Office Lens is great for.
Oh, okay.
We'll get to that close to the end. And then the last thing on here that's awesome about this is that it reads to you.
By Edgar Allan Poe. Once upon a midnight dreary.
And then with that, you can decrease or increase the speed, and it goes really fast.
We can vary. Over many acquaintance curious volume.
Not sure why you need that. But it also goes as slow as this. This is.
While I nodded, nearly napping.
Might put you to sleep, but there are very bunch of different functions for speed, as well as male-female voice. And I'm not sure, as far as your kids
Suddenly
are concerned,
there came
if
a
they're
tapping,
particular about that.
as of someone gently rapping.
But you can choose between a male and female voice. So this is what OneNote offers as far as our Immersive Reader functions go. And it's just great. Kids are, and then also, I forgot to mention, because I don't have pictures in here, but there is a picture dictionary. So as long as that's on it, will explain, like if you copy and paste a picture from Google and it kind of has that background of what it is, or like a description, it'll read that as well. So even though it doesn't say the words, it'll read the description behind it.
So that was all done in OneNote?
That was in OneNote. OneNote Online is where you can find it. So either the 2016 version or the online version, which you can download for free on any device.
Is it part of, it's not part of Office 365?
It is.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. If you have Office 365, you can update to the, if you don't have 2016 or 2019, which is new, you can update to that.
What if you have like the subscription, is it automatic?
Yeah, you get free updates. You may just have to go manually do it. Yeah. It's pretty easy to find. If you go into, I can show you that in a minute. Just ask me later.
And this will work on an iPad.
It will, as long as it's online. Awesome. Any other questions about the last Immersive Reader? Does it seem helpful as the things that you guys have seen before? Awesome. Okay, so then writing efficiently with dictation, editor, and word prediction is the next one. So they not only help with reading, but it's also going to help with your writing for students with, it's still in OneNote, yeah, and in Word as well. So by using these learning tools, the students can switch between typing and listening, and they can look back on their work, and it really helps with self-assessment and just all around being able to type and read and write all together at the same time, which may be a struggle for some kids if they can't focus. They may only have to focus on one thing at a time, but this really helps kind of engulf all of those at the same time. This is just an example of a writing with a boy with dyslexia struggling to express himself on paper. So the blue that's highlighted is what he had written. Everything else is what he had told the teacher to write, and she had written it for him. But using our learning tools, he was able to finish a 100-word essay assignment on here and just be able to type it up like this. Watch me demonstrate. These are sit down from corporate, so we get the lovely pictures here. All right, so we are going to go into Word now.
Is that similar to Google Docs or different?
Google Docs, as far as I know, don't have any of this accessibility features.
They have voice and text.
Voice.
Yeah, there's a few features in Google.
So under here, it's kind of the same thing. We have immersive learning tools off to the side, and it may look a little different depending on how you have your banner set up. Otherwise, it'll just be under home and like kind of by this general area if it's not up there. I just had mine saved. So this has a lot of the same features as well when it comes to the spacing, the size of it, and then the, why am I blanking on words right now? Syllables. But it also has a page color, so if you'd rather have a sepia or an inverse, it has those options as well. The same read aloud.
Door. Visitor, I muttered, tapping at my chamber door.
This one also has a couple different voices. So it has David can talk to you, We have Zira, and then we have Mark. We'll add Zira right now, and then the reading speed as well.
Nothing more. Distinctly, I remember it.
So it still reads to you. It still has the syllables, the text spacing as well to make it bigger or smaller, and then the column width. So if you would rather thinner, narrow, and then the widest is here. So very customizable to what your children would rather see online. This also, going back to OneNote here, and these are cross-platform, so the things I'm just using it for my own ease, but they are available on PowerPoint, OneNote, and Word. This also has a, oops, wrong button, reading, so you can talk to it as well. When I find it, that would be more helpful. Dictate, here we go. So Dictate up here is the way that some kids who may not be as comfortable typing things up can just talk to it and tell it a story, as well as it can kind of engulf, especially in OneNote, because for those, oh, see? It works well. Turn that off real quick. So in OneNote, you have the ability to have different text boxes all around, and then you can put them all together. So if you haven't used OneNote, it's a fun thing to play around with so you can show your students. But if kids can't really get a clear idea or like say a full sentence at a time, they can say a couple ideas and then it'll type it up for them, and then eventually you can go back and put it together to make one full story or one full sentence, whatever you need done at the time.
So when you showed the thing before that the kid had written the blue stuff, and the teacher, is that how they did it? How they turned it into the story was using that
Dictate, yeah, exactly. So they were able, the kid was able, instead of telling his teacher and she was writing it for him, he was able just to talk to the computer, and it could put it all in the same general sentence, and then you could edit from there. And then on here, the same thing. I'm sure you guys know this already, but with spelling errors, if you just right-click on where it is, it not only has spelling, but it has grammar errors. So down here where it says someone, it'll give you, oh, wait, it should actually be a space together. And then it has if things just don't make sense in general. So the spelling is right, the grammar may be right, but maybe that word doesn't make sense. It gives you those options as well. You can find all of those under Review, Spelling and Grammar. And then it'll give you all those options down here.
Will it read them to you?
It'll read the sentence.
I muttered, tapping at my chamber door.
So if you want to try out a different, like, oh, maybe we should put this one instead, it'll try out different words, but you have to individually put it in.
Like have them read from the drop-down list of the spelling errors?
That's not an option. Just the...
Similar to, a piece, all, respectively.
That's just explaining what the word means.
Okay. How did you get to Dictate?
Oh, that was on over here. So it's just under Home, and then it should be on the right if you have the most updated version. I keep having to clarify that because I know a lot of people come in with 10 or 12. And unfortunately, it's a newer product, so it has to be updated. So if it's 2016 or 2019, we'll have Dictate, or online version. But yeah, it should be just across the banner. As soon as you're home, it'll be off to the right.
And Dictate's in all of the products? I mean, in Word?
Correct. PowerPoint. It may not be in PowerPoint. Actually, I'm not sure about that one, but it is definitely OneNote and Word. And then, yeah, there's those two. And you can also set a dictation language. You have to download them ahead of time, but if your children speak a different language and you want to write in, say you teach Spanish or you teach French, you can set the dictation in a different language so they can talk to it and it'll type that out as well.
So back to Word, in the dictation feature in Word, does it just type not in the text box, but just into the document?
Yeah, in Word it just types straight into the document. So unlike OneNote where it can kind of do different ideas in different sections, you just have to like click off of it. And then start a new Dictate, Word will just kind of make one huge document online, but then you can edit it from there. Yeah, so as far as the talking spell check, it really will just say that one word, and then if you like fill in other words, it can say the language or say the sentence again, but it doesn't read just each word by itself. But that is a really good idea, and I will float that on up to corporate. I'm going to write all these down, especially the dyslexia font as well. You know, I'm by no means an expert or that familiar with learning disabilities. So as far as this goes, this is just something that we're more familiar with our products instead of what the children need. So really anything helps, and I'm sure that's a lot with whoever makes these presentations as well. Literacy solutions as well is going to be the last kind of main section on this. We'll have another video here. Let's go into that. What did we start talking about yesterday, guys?
St. Patrick's Day!
I am a resource special education teacher. I target groups of students who need intervention for either reading, language arts, or math. These are kids that struggle every day. And to watch them grow and learn and have those aha moments
now I get it.
is so rewarding to me, and it just makes my heart soar. We have ADHD, dyslexia, dysgraphia. I have a student who reads on a 3rd grade level, but then I have a student who reads on a kindergarten level, and I have to find a way to bridge the gap. We've been using OneNote since the beginning of this school year. Even in this short amount of time that we've had it, it's been completely transformational. When we first started using OneNote, I thought, okay, this is gonna take us a while to get going, and we're gonna have to learn how to use it. 3 days. It took them 3 days to master OneNote. I have a dyslexic student who's also dysgraphic. He still reads on a kindergarten level. He's 10 years old, he's still learning sight words, and he would tell me all the time that he was stupid. When we started this school year, he read 4 words per minute. For the longest time, I struggled with how to help him. And when we got the learning tools with the Immersive Reader, he went to 22 words per minute. I never thought in one calendar school year that we would even get into double digits. And he's at 22 words per minute, and he stayed there. For my students especially, it's really transformed their educational experience. I don't know what next year will look like. I don't know what our possibilities are, because in my wildest dreams, I never thought this would be what it is. Sky's the limit.
To be honest, not trying to super promote my brand, but I cannot be more happy with what OneNote can do. Because before I started working at Microsoft, I used it, in college for just taking notes and that sort of thing, so I could keep it all in different sections. But there are almost endless possibilities that you can do with students. If you guys are able to write on your devices, I know our Surfaces can, I know iPads can, but just being able to highlight as you go or circle certain things, that helps students tremendously. Teachers love it because you can collaborate together. If you use OneNote online, you can have 4 different students working on the same project from home, because it all kind of gets uploaded. I know Google Docs can do the same thing, but it all gets uploaded to that same cloud version of it. And so it's a really great collaboration tool. And teachers that we have talked to have also used it to plan their lesson plans together, which has nothing to do with this, but it's just a great tool that you can use for a number of different things. So this just gets into the personalization, which we kind of talked about before. That's the great thing about these Immersive Reader tools, is that you can go on and personalize, or your students can personalize it to kind of fit their needs. So when it highlights, when it goes through and reads, if they want to highlight it in a different color, maybe they don't like blue, they like purple, and it will highlight in purple instead. And maybe they want to inverse, so they want to read white words instead of the black words. So just personalization is a great thing that students love, and it just makes them want to read more and want to learn more. And then because they're built into our mainstream apps like Word, it's a way for everyone that can use it, whether you're using our PCs or if you're using a Mac or an iPad, Chromebook. They're built into all of those so that everyone can feel empowered and do their best. This is a short study. If you guys want to look it up, I won't go into it too much. But the British Dyslexia Association and Now Hill School did a thing on learning tools to see if it helped boost comprehension and boost reading levels. You can find it online. If you just look up the British Dyslexia Association, it's the first thing to pop up. But there's another short video.
I'm Jenny Anderson Johnson.
And Ben Johnson.
We have 3 kids, Alden, Gavin, and Carrick.
My name is Carrick and I'm in 2nd grade. My favorite things in the world is bees, snakes, and gardening.
We definitely knew there was a problem because, you know, he just was not being able to read with us as much as the other kids were.
Sometimes I was embarrassed because I don't know how to read.
He had dyslexia. Initially, it was that kind of feeling of shame that really made me feel sad.
My teacher was like, "Who wants to read first?" For the whole entire year, I said, "Not me."
So you start wondering, you know, what we're doing wrong. And then there's a little bit of panic that sets in.
One day when we were learning, my friend came next to me and said, "I know how you can do this. Just click on that button," and it said Immersive Reader, and I clicked on it. And I was just focused, my eyes were focused into it. I can say it to you, like that, and or I could tell you a picture.
The awesome thing about Immersive Reader, it was just there. It was just an icon click away.
I think that it's allowed him to have more confidence that he can do more.
It makes me feel good, and my life is more easier.
The first night they kind of came up to us with a book in hand and wanting to read to us. You know, they see that twinkle in his eye.
Yeah.
It was something he had conquered, you know.
This card was from Mother's Day. I love you, Mom. I am very impressed of your hard work that you did.
The last few sentences was, "Thank you so much for helping me read." I was like, wow, this is the best Mother's Day gift. Yeah, it was pretty, I don't know, yeah, just that one little sentence, it was kind of.
I am going to read as many books as I can in the world.
I'm telling you, we love our feel-good stories. So I'm going to show you right now, while this is up, just what it can do if you go onto our Office, or Microsoft Edge, excuse me. So we're just going to go over to Wikipedia, because that's always a super reliable source. And just type in dyslexia. So here, really what the Edge can do is a lot of the same things. So the read aloud.
Dyslexia. From Wikipedia, the free
And
encyclopedia.
again, change the speed, change the person who
Encyclopedia.
talks.
Encyclopedia. Dyslexia.
You can fast forward, rewind, whatever you guys need to do as far as that's concerned. I know a lot of things can do this, but zooming in is just a huge help as well that we've noticed. I know it's a very simple thing to do, but a lot of people don't realize that zooming in can affect people reading on the pages. The find on a page up here, which I know is a pretty simple thing that people like to use, but if you want to say different, it'll go through every single time different is mentioned. So if you wanted to quickly find something on there, it'll go through all those options as well.
How did you do that? How did you access sort of, what were you in when you brought up Wikipedia?
Oh, so this is Microsoft Edge. It's down here. It is our Internet Explorer of Microsoft, basically. It's our web search tool. How do you get that? You can download it. So if you just go into whatever, what do you use typically, Internet Explorer or Firefox or Chrome? Chrome, yeah. If you just look up Microsoft Edge, you can just download it. And another easy way, I know I went into kind of up here at the top to do find on page. You can also do Control F, and it'll do the same option if you like to do little fast tips and tricks. And then the last thing that we're going to go over, this is my note version. You guys don't want to see that, do you? But we're going to look at the Office Lens, which I think is one of the coolest apps that you can get. Again, it's free. You can do it on your phone or a computer, and it is just such an awesome tool. I use it all the time. But I'm going to do a little demonstration here. So Office Lens uses your camera. Oh, we don't want to process the floor. Delete. All right, so it uses your camera, and I'm going to just do an example of this sheet of paper. So if you are reading from a book, if you're reading from, if you guys have handouts that you give to your kids, or if they come home with handouts, and you just want to put it online, this is basically a PDF scanner, but it can copy it into OneNote, so you can use the Immersive Reader tools. It's very easy to use on the phone. It's even easier, I would think. It kind of automatically captures where the document is, and then you just have it take the picture. The phone ones can be voice activated, so it'll talk back to you as well, saying like, hey, move up, move down, like if it's not in that right place. That's not a clear one because I was shaking. Let's try it one more time. You can clear it if you just like click the middle of it. It'll kind of take that clear version. Or not, because my hands aren't steady. But that's okay. So once you take the picture of the document, it kind of turns it into that PDF, as I said. Down here, you can go to Save, and it'll give you all these different options. So if you want to save it into OneNote, that's our default right now. You can save it as a PDF, a picture, PowerPoint, whatever you want to do. So we'll go into this. Just takes a second to transfer it. And then you can go to Open. All right, and then it'll be here. So just like create it from Office Lens down at the bottom. Let's zoom in just a little bit so we can see it. And it'll create a separate thing down here, but if you want to say like, hey, I actually want it on this document, you can just copy and paste it onto like up here. But once you're in here, you can do the same thing as it had before with the Immersive Reader. And it turns all of this, it takes away all of the pictures in the background of it and just turns it into straight of the words. So if it says like, watch me demonstrate, Immersive Reader, and 2, 3, 4. That's just the symbols. Sorry, that's spacing. Some of it will get like that, but you can also get rid of that if you need to. And you say, hey, I just want to read this one word.
Reader.
Okay. So that's just a really cool thing if students come home. And then, again, if you guys have a device that they can write on, if they want to, I know some kids in the videos were showing had like the lines where they fill in the sentence, or like it's a jumbled up word and you have to make a sentence out of it, those types of things. They can also write on it as well. And you can type into it, absolutely. It is free.
And you can get it on the Apple Store.
I don't know the answer to that. You can definitely get it on an Android. Yeah, the Office Lens. Yeah, but if you look it up. Oh, and it on a iPhone? Yeah. Perfect. Then yes, you can get it on the Apple Store. Sorry, I'm not too familiar with Apple products. You can also turn it around.
What if they have a whole book that they need to read? Is there a way to?
It would be one by page.
Unless you find it online.
Yeah.
If you find it online, like say, if you find it online, can you? Well, Learning Alley. Have you heard of Learning Alley? Yeah, so that reads it to you too. So.
Can you open a PDF in OneNote?
Yes, you should be able to.
Can you talk into it to edit it, like do the dictate feature?
Yeah, OneNote does have a dictate feature. To be quite honest with you, mine is not updated version, is not fully up to date to have the dictate version of it, because updating it takes a while, and
Can you write into it and save it?
Yes.
So the problem that we're having is the math books. So the math books, we have PDF versions of them, but haven't found a good solution to be able to read the math problems, or for the student to be able to interact. Some of the math problems call for writing an equation, in which case it'd be nice to write with a stylus.
Yeah.
Some of them call for writing a sentence, which would be nice to be able to dictate or possibly type. But I haven't found a good solution to be able to do that in a PDF-based document that allows both dictating and stylus writing. And I'm wondering if OneNote is that solution, or if it's still not really there.
Worst case scenario with that, if you can't download it straight from PDF to the OneNote document, you could print it out and then use this Office Lens to put it back up on to OneNote. And I know that does take time, but it could work. Yes, OneNote, I know for sure that you can write in it and it'll capture that, as well as talking into it if you have the most up-to-date version, unlike me. If I want to show it, I should have it.
Is there, since it's Dyslexia Month, say, for example, if I sent a student with a math book to see if they could get that to happen. Like, is there somebody at the store that could show them how to do it and tell that child could say, the older, this is what I needed to do.
Yep.
And that somebody could say, yes, we can, or figure out, no, we can't, or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you could make appointments, and our staff would be more than happy. We have technicians on hand at all the store. I would say 24/7, but whenever we're open, we have technicians on hand that can do that. Also with math, which isn't really included into this PowerPoint, but if you're interested in this, and I can talk to you a little bit more about it later, we have amazing math helpers that are built into OneNote as well. And we are actually talking to Castilleja School. Have you heard of that down the street? So we had met with their tech group that kind of leads their school. And one of their math teachers said that he's looking to go completely paperless using OneNote in the next couple years. And it really is just getting better and better with our math program. So I can talk to you a little bit about that after if you want to. But there are a lot of options for it, reading out loud, kids being able to write straight on it, and that sort of thing. But yes, so that is basically what Office Lens does. Just converts it onto either this, it also converts it, as you saw, onto a Word document or straight into a PowerPoint slide if you're trying to, make some sort of presentation. And it's a great tool for using that. It's also great if you guys need to scan in receipts or something. You could just slide it in. It's awesome.
Does it sync with Excel in that way? Can you put
Excel is not one that it syncs with, unfortunately. One thing that teachers can also do, which is really cool, if you go into, keep having to change this. Okay. If you go into a document, maybe, something that all of our tools have is this check accessibility feature up here. So if you go into it, it'll basically go through and tell you everything that wouldn't be accessible for every student involved. So repeated blank characters. So you said characters this many times, and maybe that's too repetitive for some students to read at once. This is spelling errors off to the side, but that's options. Sometimes if it's colors, so if you have highlighted colors randomly, it'll say hey, what if your students have color blindness or they can't see these colors well? These are some better options to use instead of a yellow or whatever may be green. So this check accessibility feature is also on Word, PowerPoint, and OneNote, so you can go through and make sure that it's accessible for all of your students. Or if you're a parent at home and you're hey, I wonder why my child is having so many problems with this, you can just go onto here and then say, oh, this might be why. Maybe because it says this word too repetitively, or it says too long of words. That's an option on there too, if you have too big of words that students may not understand. So that's a really cool feature as well. Don't save. And that's everything with Word. So for those of you who brought devices, if you want to try it, now's the time to do it, and I can definitely walk you through that. I'd be more than happy to.
Oh, you were saying what you were saying about...
Yeah, I can go into that. For those of you who want to stay a little extra, I can get through the math part of it. I know we're ending a little early. This is kind of all as the shortened version of what we have. This does go into more detail if you are in our store. But trying it at home, and this is a slide that you guys have. This is kind of shows you the learning tools that may be here under view if it's not under that home banner I had attached it. Down here on our Wikipedia that you can do the read aloud, and then down over there in the Immersive OneNote, all the options that are available in Immersive Reader. There's also a few options if you want to come in later as well. We have vision, hearing, mobility, and neurodiversity as well. That kind of affects different things. So just the neurodiversity, just to show you a little taste of what it is. It kind of does these dial down distractions. So it's basically for your computer as a whole. If you go into a setting, you can reduce the background images. So some of them are more transparent just as your device comes naturally to make it look cooler. They like to have things transparent so you can kind of see it in the background, but that's a distraction for some kids. So you're able to turn that off. Tell me, work using everyday languages, so you can change your language on it if kids aren't English language learners from the start, or if they're learning currently. Type with confidence with text suggestions. So it'll give you different suggestions of whether it's the font size, color size, font type, and then what you're exactly saying, and then sending it to your Windows 10 device if you have one. There's Windows 10 Hello, so sometimes if you have a password on your device, it'll face recognition, or some have a fingerprint, that sort of thing. And it just makes things a little easier for students. It's a lot of it is little things that you don't realize that students may need in their life, that it just makes it a little bit easier, less distracting, and more confident building for them. All right. The rest is just a recap, but I've recapped a lot, so I don't know. And then if you have any questions, on here is also some next steps that you guys have printed out as well. So onenote.com/learning-tools is where you can go into a lot more detail of what's available. Microsoft.com/accessibility. You can go in and see that. Education.microsoft.com is a great education tool that I will tell you guys about, and my other other teacher over here. And then obviously Twitter and Facebook. Here's what they're all available on. So OneNote Mac, Word Online, etc. that you can get across all hardware, no matter what you use, whether it's iPad, Windows device, our Edge browser over here.
So when you use the voice dictation, how is it when you talk when it's loud in a room? Is it pretty accurate? 'Cause I know
A lot of the times it may take a little bit just because it needs to recognize your voice. So sometimes you can do practice runs with it, like when you're alone, so it can understand like what you're saying rather than like other things or other people around you. In a loud room, depending on, what do you mean by loud? Just like other kids?
well, usually there's a lot of background noise wherever you're going when you're trying to do stuff.
Yeah. It does drown out a lot of just background noise, but if there's like multiple people up here talking at the same time, that's where it gets a little fuzzy.
I was at EdRev over at AT&T Park.
Oh, okay. Yeah, background noise it doesn't really catch on because it gets whatever's closest to it, to the microphone. So if there's like a game going on in the background, it won't catch that.
Yeah, because like with Google, and there was lots of noise in the background, it actually picked up every word.
Oh, okay.
And get all the words properly.
Yeah.
So I just,
Yeah, it does drown out a lot of background noise, but if there are multiple people talking at the same distance from the computer, that's where it gets confused. But it is very accurate. Yes?
What about, I teach with the younger kids. And
Thank you for coming.
One thing that's can be common with dyslexia is they have some speech issues at the beginning. So if I want to use dictation with them.
Just from the back. Yes.
If I want to use dictation with them, is there a way, is there a way that I could teach that child to, like, can I use that one that says they clicks and it gives them the options of what it says the words it is so they can decide which one it is? They'll say those are, oftentimes kindergartners can't say L's or R's, that's.
So you're asking if the dictation picks that up or if it'll be.
If it'll pick up an odd word, will it just not put the word down or will it?
Any other individual questions going forth? Awesome. Is this something that you see students could be useful at home and in school? Yeah, great. Love hearing that. So it'll take it as close of a word that they're saying. So sometimes it may be not the word that they're trying to say, but it does give options as well with this like spell check because it'll say like, hey, this doesn't make sense in this sentence. So maybe you should like check out other options. As far as that goes, if it is just a completely out of the wazoo word that like doesn't make sense at all, a lot of the times it will ask you to repeat it. So it won't put anything there, and it'll say like, hey, it'll pop up, be like, say that again, and you just like click OK and then go through it. But it never types like random letters.
It's not like our spell check.
No. Yeah. Yeah.